Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our morning motivator call. Janet Legere here, and I'm having some technical challenges today, but hopefully you can hear me. Oh yeah, my phone is like dead. Hopefully you can hear me okay. Alrighty. Just making sure everything is the way it should be. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. My computer is not playing sound, so I wasn't hearing any of the videos. Hopefully the PowerPoint is up. Today's Timeless Tuesday, and I'm reminded every day that the minute you decide to pay attention and become in the now, right now, is when things start to change for you. And as human beings, because we seem to have forgotten all this stuff that we used to know, we tend to forget to be in the now all the time, and we get wrapped up in doing stuff. And it really takes a lot of practice to focus on being right in the now. Would you guys agree? And when I say focus on being in the now, what I'm talking about is really paying attention to what you're doing at every moment. Like, as you're reading a book, paying attention to the book. How's it feeling? When you're having a conversation, really paying attention to the conversation and how it's feeling. Is it going the way you want it to go? When you're in an environment, are you actually actively participating? And that's a big question, isn't it? And it's a challenge to do that because we get into doing our busyness, doing our work and doing the things we need to do all day, and we just do those things. They're like little habits that we have all day. One of the best ways to start consciously living is doing it in the shower. So when you're having your shower, really being with yourself in the shower, concentrating on washing your hair, I do my meditation when I'm in the shower. It's the best time for me to be with me. It's kind of cool. I love this quote. Today's Timeless Tuesday. Once we discover how to appreciate the timeless values in our daily experiences, we can enjoy the best things in life. Do we really understand that quote? And I really wonder if some of us are still in that mode where we resent what other people have. We regret things we haven't done. We might be talking about one of the things that, just as an example here, Don, hope you don't mind me using you, but one of the things that I've noticed is, whenever we talk real estate, I can't say in my life that I've had a lot of, shall we call it, luck in the real estate market, and neither has Don. I mean, it's just the way it is. But when we talk about real estate and other people making it in real estate, you can see the feelings that it rises up because we have failed in the real estate market. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's what we're talking about, because you're having a feeling of something about somebody else, that they're having success you're not having, or you've never had success in that area. Every time you go into that area, that it's just a disaster zone for you. You're just staying away from there. But at the same time, rather than being really excited that somebody made it in that industry, that things are going very well for somebody, we tend to, maybe you call it envy or jealousy, or I don't know what you want to call it, but you guys know what I'm talking about? That feeling you have when you talk about somebody else having success in an area where you have failed miserably. It doesn't feel good, does it? And it's really hard to be excited for somebody else. But I got to tell you guys, that's exactly what you got to do. You got to think, that is so cool. It's not an area I've ever had luck in, but that is so cool. Because the truth of the matter is, if you want luck in real estate, you have to play the real estate market. And some people have been lucky. They bought when the market was low, and they happened to sell when the market was high. Yay! I don't get stuck on things that didn't work. And so this is what I'm going to really encourage you guys to work on today. We're going to finish up our chapter. What chapter are we on here? Chapter, is it 6 or 7? Chapter 7. You're standing on the leading edge of thought. We're going to probably finish it up. There's not much left to that chapter. But I really want you guys to focus on those feelings and focus on changing the way you feel. Changing the way you look at what other people do. Changing the way you look at your own past success or failure. Because do we all really understand that you can change it like right now? Right now you can just decide, you know what? I'm just not going to do that anymore. When I recognize myself feeling that way, I'm going to change the way I feel. Snap. Snap. Anybody here ever do that? Do you ever catch yourself having a thought that isn't serving you and click snap? And you know, it's an obsession with me to feel good, and I'm really working on the fact of recognizing when my emotions are not in that feel good state. And they're not in the feel good state if we're complaining, if we're talking about something that bothers us about someone else or about something else. We're not feeling good, and we don't even realize it. That's the challenge. We don't even realize that when we're complaining about the government or talking about the government in a negative way, when we're talking about anything that makes us feel not happy, we're adding to that not happy feeling. Does that make sense to you guys? And that's what we really need to work on. I don't know where everyone is today. They forget it's Tuesday. Well, let's finish up this chapter. Chapter 7, on the leading edge of thought. Without asking, you will receive no answer. We're reading Ask and It Is Given. How many of you are following along with the book? Do you have this one, Barbara? I can't remember. I know Lynn does. I think Margaret does. Let's finish up this chapter. Sometimes people will compliment Esther for being able to receive the wisdom of Abraham and for putting it into written or spoken word for others to experience and receive benefit from. And we also add our appreciation to that. But we also want to point out that Esther's receiving and translation of our vibration is only part of the equation. Without the asking that precedes it, there could be no answering. The people of your times are benefiting dramatically from the experience of those generations that preceded you. For through the experiences that they lived and the desires that were generated within them, the summoning began. And today, you are the ones on the leading edge of reaping the benefits of what those past generations asked for. And at the same time, you are continuing to ask. And you are now summoning. And on it goes. So can you see how, if you can find a way to allow it, that there's an avalanche of well-being at your fingertips, ripe for the plucking, provided that you are in vibrational alignment with it? And can you not see why, since there's never a crowd on the leading edge, you are not going to have a lot of people you can talk to about this? That's why we gathered here, right? But do you really get this? I want to read this again. If you can find a way to allow it, that there's an avalanche of well-being ripe for your plucking, provided you are in vibrational alignment with it. So if you're having a conversation about something that you don't like, if you are talking about something that you don't like, I mean, that's the simplest way to say it. You don't like it. It bothers you. Something about something bothers you. You don't like how that is. That is emitting in you a vibration that doesn't feel good. And the universe is responding to that, and it's bringing you crap. So if you're wondering why you aren't where you are, stop talking about things that bother you. Start talking about things that feel really, really good. Does that make sense? And I just want to know, though, if you guys can recognize that sometimes you're talking about things that make you feel not good. Sometimes you talk about things you don't like. Sometimes you talk about what Joe did and what Mary did. And I recognize it in myself when I'm talking about other people's behaviors that I don't approve of. You know, who am I to approve? Right? Does that make sense to you guys? I want to know if we're kind of catching you in there, because sometimes it's just those little things that we tweak them just a little and it makes all the difference in the world. Yes, no, maybe so. Good stuff. It's just those little things, you know, and they can really hold us back. So you've got to be in vibrational alignment. And So if you're talking about things you don't like, you sure as heck aren't in vibrational alignment. These days, there are some people experiencing intense hardships or traumas, and because of how they're living right now, their asking is in a heightened and intense place. And because of the intensity of their request, Source is responding in kind. And although the person who is doing the asking is usually so involved in the trauma that they're not personally receiving the benefit of their own asking, future generations or even current generations who are not right now disallowing it are receiving the benefit of the asking. Angie, that's really not the place for this. This is the Morning Motivator. We're really excited to have you with us. But I am going to ask that it's a no advertising, so we're really here to learn and work together. So thank you for that. We are giving this to you by way of helping you understand there is an unlimited stream of well-being, an abundance of all manner of things available to you at all times. But you must be in alignment with the receiving of those things. You cannot stand in resistance of them and receive them at the same time. So the only thing you really need to understand is that if you're not receiving something you want, it's because you're putting up a wall of resistance. Does that make sense? Yeah, so it felt like your mom and your sis were bashing you, and you know they probably aren't, but they just don't know any better. They're just talking about things that bother them. We tend to do that as a society, don't we? We tend to talk about things that bother us. And do you recognize that when you talk about things that bother you, it's putting you into a state of resistance? So stop talking about things that bother you. And if they bother you, recognize they bother you and go look at something that doesn't. Sounds simplistic, right? Anybody think that sounds way too simplistic? I don't. Open the floodgates and let your well-being flow in. See yourself right where you are now as the beneficiary of a powerful stream of well-being. Try to imagine that you're basking in the flow of this powerful stream. Make an effort to feel yourself as the leading edge beneficiary of this unlimited stream, and smile and try to accept that you're worthy of it. Your ability to feel your worthiness of the powerful stream of well-being will undoubtedly depend on what's happening in your life right now. Under some conditions, you feel utterly blessed, and under others, you feel not so blessed. And it is our desire, as you read this book, that you will come to understand that to the degree that you feel blessed and expect good things to flow to you, this indicates the level of your state of allowing. And to the degree that you do not feel blessed, where you do not expect good things to come to you, this indicates your degree of resistance. And it is our desire that as you continue to read, you will feel able to release any habits of thought that have resulted in your disallowing of the stream. Remember, you're either allowing or resisting. And so if things are not going the way you want them to go, you need to check in on whether you're allowing or resisting. And what the heck are you talking about? Are you talking about things that bother you? Did you get ticked off at? Your team didn't win, so you ticked off? Things didn't go the way you wanted them to go on your projects, you got ticked off. Your partner didn't do what they wanted, so you got ticked off. The people you brought into your business just sit there, they're not doing anything, it really ticks you off. Just, you know, you did your marketing, nothing happened, it bothered you, you're feeling like a failure, things aren't working the way you want them to, and things just aren't working the way I want them to. Things aren't working the way I want them to. If that's all you're focused on, can you see the cycle that you're creating? So you really got to check in with your thoughts. Are you focused on all the things that are happening? Sometimes that's hard, isn't it? We want you to understand that if it were not for resistant thoughts you have picked up along your physical trail that are not in vibrational alignment with the stream of well-being, you would be right now a full receiver of that stream. For you are a literal extension of it. You and how you feel is all that is responsible for whether you let in your inheritance of well-being or not. You and how you feel. And while those around you may influence you more or less to allow or not allow that stream, it's ultimately all up to you. You can open the floodgates and let in your well-being, or you can choose thoughts that keep you pinched off from what's yours. But whether you allow it or resist it, the stream is constantly flowing to you, never ending, never tiring, always there for your reconsideration. So I'd like to, we're a very small group, so I can tell if you don't respond or not. Are you starting to get this? That when you're, and I mean, I am too, because I'm just as guilty of it. I am not perfect, and I'm really starting to understand that, oh, even when I'm talking about, you know, so-and-so's attitude towards something, it really sucks, or, I'm talking about what other people are doing and those little things, and, oh, I'm just feeling like ick today because it's just been cloudy for 3 days. Like, that just gets you into that resistant state. Sometimes it's just a little thing. Sometimes we really have to realize that we have to be mindful all the time. And that's what we need to work on. You are in the perfect position to get there from here. Now is always the perfect time, isn't it? Things aren't going the way you want completely yet. Well, I get to change right now. I get to think differently right now. I get to choose how I feel. I get to snap my fingers and change my thoughts right now. And it is that easy. Anyone who says it's not that easy isn't even trying. Or they're trying for a little while and going, well, I tried that for a little while, it didn't work. Do you know anybody like that? That, they'll go on a diet? And I have one of my cousins was quite a large girl, and she had scoliosis, and she had surgery to put plates in her back, and she was really suffering, and she was quite a large girl. And so she lost a whole bunch of weight, and I think within like 2 months, her back wasn't better, so it didn't work. So she put it all back on, and then some. And then I remember when she got married, and her husband were trying to have a baby, and the doctor told her that she was having trouble having a baby because basically she's obese. And I mean, not 10 or 20 or 30 or even 40 pounds overweight. We're talking more than 100 pounds. And the doctor suggested that this was part of the problem. And her attitude was, stupid doctors, what do they know? Who the heck does he think he is telling me I'm too fat to have a baby? Can you see the attitude there? It's just really not a good one. And she's really not in a good place. So how do you get out of that place? You start in the little steps and you stay there, just like all of you are doing. You stay there. You don't give up. You keep practicing. You keep recognizing. You keep trying to understand more and more and more. Number one, what do you need to let go of? And number two, what do you need to do more of? It's a new minute, hour, or day. That's right, Lynn, always. All right, you are in the perfect position to get there from here. Nothing has to change in your environment or in the circumstances that surround you for you to begin to deliberately allow your own connection to the stream of well-being. How does that make you feel? Nothing has to change. You don't need more money. You don't need a better house. You don't need a better anything in order to allow that stream to come in right now. There's only one thing that has to change, right? You could be in prison. You could have been diagnosed with a terminal illness. You could be facing bankruptcy. You could be in the middle of a divorce. Still, you're in the perfect place right now to begin. And we also want you to understand that this will not require a great deal of time, for it only requires a simple understanding of the universal laws and a determination to move toward a state of allowing. You have to make the determination to move into the state of allowing. You got to recognize you're not in it, right? All the time. Takes practice. When you drive your vehicle from place to place, you have an awareness of your starting place as well as an awareness of where you're going. You accept that you cannot get there instantaneously. You accept that you'll travel the distance, and in time, you will arrive at your destination. And while you may feel anxious to get there and maybe even tired of the journey, you do not get so discouraged at the midway mark that you just turn around and go back to your starting place. You do not drive back and forth from starting point to the midway point and then finally collapse from the never-ending journey. You do not announce your inability to accomplish your journey. You accept the distance between your starting place and where you desire to be. And you continue to move in the direction of your destination. You understand what is required, and you do it. And we want you to come to know that the journey between where you are and where you want to be on all subjects can be just as easily understood. Do you love the analogy of the vehicle? On one of the CDs that Abraham talks about that. And you know, I really love the analogy of driving somewhere. It's like life. You know, we set a goal and we get halfway there. We think, this is too hard. I'm not going to keep going. I mean, we can say that when we go on a trip. Dawn and I quite regularly head out to Victoria to see our son and daughter-in-law and our granddaughter. And it's quite a drive. It usually takes us 2 days to get there because we overnight, because there's a ferry in between, so you have to kind of get with the ferry schedules. And, you know, it's a good 15, 16-hour trip. Sounds like a lot. You don't get halfway there and say, oh, this is just too hard. This is too far. Turn around and go home. It's not how it works. You keep moving forward. And that's what you need to do in your life. You need to keep moving forward. You need to always be picking up those pieces. And you need to be, well, you don't need to be doing anything. If you want to get in touch with Source, if you want to be an open stream of well-being, if you want to make change in your life, if you want to create miracles, then you need to practice more, and you really need to understand what's holding you back. And I even see it, the more we talk about it, I'm really recognizing that even in the conversations that when we're talking about other people and we're making judgments of how they're living their lives, it's none of our business. We may or may not agree with it, but we can't let that be the subject of our conversations. For some reason it is. Have you ever noticed that? Have you ever noticed when you're having a conversation, it's not about all the amazingness that's going on in the world. It's about what went wrong. It's about the things that are going wrong in the world. Have you ever noticed that? Or something wrong in a relationship, or something went wrong here, or something went wrong there. We don't sit and talk about all the amazing good things that are going on in our lives. Have you ever noticed that? And then we have all the yeah buts. Yeah, I really like that, but. Yeah, I really like that, but. Yeah, we set goals, and because of life happens, we just give up halfway there. And it's more than that, Lynn. Life doesn't happen. And until you really understand that, life will continue to happen to you. Life doesn't happen. You're attracting life. You are creating the life you are experiencing. Isn't that the biggest lesson we need to learn? That you are creating the life you're experiencing, just like I'm creating the life I'm experiencing. So if things in my life aren't quite the way I want them to be, I need to take my focus off of that and put my focus on what I want it to be. And what is the way I want it? It could be a very big challenge to do that, right? It is a challenge. Tomorrow we're going to read, you are a vibrational transmitter and receiver, and I love this section talking about that. I'm pretty sure it's going to get into the, you know, the radio broadcast signal, and it's, if you can find a coach, if you can find someone in your life who's with you regularly, who can point out to you when they recognize that your vocabulary or your speech or something you're saying or doing is not serving you, take advantage of it. How many of you would like that? I know I do. I like to be made aware when I'm saying things and doing things that are not benefiting me, when I'm focused on things that aren't happening, and instead of saying, wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice? It takes practice. I'm going to ask you guys to practice today and forever with the wouldn't it be nice. And, you know, we are all our own coaches, Barbara, but you know what I'm saying? If there's someone in your life that is on the same path as you, like all of us here, if there's someone that gets it, that you can work together, then it just makes it easier. When somebody can say to you, you know, Barbara, did you catch what you just said there? How'd that make you feel? You know, Barbara, I've noticed that you say these things. I'd be happy to do with you guys when we're doing text or when we're in here. I'm happy to, you know, point out the words you use, even if you mean something different. This is what we really need to embrace and understand, is that even though we mean things differently than what we're saying, we're saying things that don't serve us. And when we say those words, even though we think we mean something different, the words are causing us to feel the way the words sound. Does that make sense? Well, I know we're a few minutes early, but I think we're going to go into our meditation. Do you guys have a preference today? Of course, I mean, I don't know if the videos are going to work for me or not. They weren't working earlier, so hopefully they're going to work for you. Do we want Abraham or Lori? Let's start there. Abraham or Lori? We'll go with that, and then we can go on from there. And again, you guys are going to have to let me know when the video is done, because they're not playing for me. So we'll go from there. Abraham or Lori? Margaret wants some Abraham. Remember, we have the 4. All right, we seem to be Abraham. We did money yesterday. We've got, or not yesterday, Friday. We've got money, general, relationships, and physical. Is there a preference? Any preferences? General? General well-being sounds good to me today. So we're going to go with that, okay? All right, so hopefully it's going to be playing for you, all right? And if you would be so kind as to let me know when the video is completed, that would be great. So first, let me know that the video is playing.
Welcome to the doorway of your vortex. We are extremely pleased that you've made the decision to be here. Breathe in. Breathe out. It is good to come together for the purpose of co-creation and for the purpose of aligning with who you really are. Breathe in. Breathe out. We want you to know that as you relax and breathe and focus softly upon the words that we are offering to you here, you are allowing the gentle tuning of your vibration to the frequency of your source, who is inside the vortex. Breathe in. Breathe out. Be easy as you find the rhythm of your body, and enjoy long, slow breaths in and out as you hear our words. Breathe in. Breathe out. It is not necessary that you concentrate, and there is nothing that you need remember. Just relax and breathe and enjoy. Breathe in. Breathe out. You are an extension of non-physical source energy, and you have come here with great eagerness and purpose. You intended to explore Earth's perfect balance of contrast for the purpose of moving life beyond what it has been before. Breathe in. Breathe out. In this moment in time and space, you are precisely where you have intended to be, and the source within you is pleased. Breathe in. Breathe out. Your life continually calls more expansion through you, and all that is benefits from the important part that you play. Breathe in. Breathe out. As you relax and breathe deeply, you can feel the appreciation that Source feels for you in this moment in time. Appreciation for your physical world, for its diversity, and for the stream of never-ending desires that flow forth from you. Breathe in. Breathe out. Before your birth into this physical body, you understood the importance of the contrasting diversity on planet Earth. Breathe in. Breathe out. You jumped in eagerly to explore the variety and to enjoy the expansion that you knew would be called through you. Breathe in. Breathe out. Your life is supposed to feel good to you, for you have deliberately chosen it as the platform from which more will flow. The appreciation that Source feels for you never-endingly will wrap you in a warm blanket of worthiness if you will allow it. Breathe in. Breathe out. Your life is serving you well and is providing the basis of expansion exactly as you knew it would when you decided to come. Breathe in. Breathe out. You have launched countless rockets of desires into your vortex of creation, and your frequent entry there will always feel good. Breathe in. Breathe out. From inside your vortex, things satisfy and delight you. You feel expansive and frisky, and you are eager for more. With every new discovery and each new place you stand, the expansive feeling of more continues to call you and refresh you. Breathe in. Breathe out. Your world is gradually expanding, steadily growing and refreshing, while finding balance every step along the way. Breathe in. Breathe out. Well-being is the dominant basis of all that is, of the universe and of the physical planet upon which you now stand. Breathe in. Breathe out. Your magnificent world is eternally tied to the steady rhythm of well-being at its core, and the same is true of you. As you relax and refresh, releasing resistance as you breathe, you will discover the balancing rhythm of your source. Breathe in. Breathe out. Be easy about your life and feel our appreciation for who you are as you allow wonderful things to flow naturally to you. Breathe in. Breathe out. As you relax into the law-based premise of our words, any resistance you have found along your physical path will be released. Breathe in. Breathe out. As you listen to our words and remember who you are, you will rediscover your natural vibrational patterns of well-being. Each day you will find more clarity, more stamina, more eagerness. Each day you will remember who you are and why you have come. Breathe in. Breathe out. That which is your source is fully aware of you right now and feels unspeakable appreciation for who you are. Breathe in. Breathe out. Your life is supposed to feel good to you, and you are meant to feel happiness in your life, and you are meant to satisfy your dreams. Breathe in. Breathe out. You are doing extremely well. The well-being that you seek is flowing to you. Relax and enjoy the unfolding. Feel appreciation for what is and eagerness for what is coming. There is great love here for you. Breathe in. For the next few minutes, letting the music guide you. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out.